that we can provide these workshops to you. And we really appreciate your support. Today, we're going to kind of do a deep dive into the Windows 10 File Explorer. Got tongue-tied there. And I'd like to make a disclaimer, because what you see that I'm doing is my personal preferences, and I'm sure that you have yours, but I hope that our presentation will provide you with some insight of some of the things that you can do with File Explorer, and maybe change your attitude or view about some other things. You'll also notice that I'm a big proponent of cloud storage, so you will see me using that extensively, even though that you may not be doing so. So I just want to point those out. If you have any questions about any of the things that you see, or question some of the things that I'm doing, please feel free to send those questions or those concerns to Judy, and she will pass those on to me, and we'll discuss it. Also, likewise, as John pointed out, that your name is very important, that you have your first and last name so they can match up the request to the registration information. So if you have some questions that you want to be answered, and I'm not able to answer them here, I'll do some research and I can send those back to you, but we'll need to know the names of your, that we can match it up with your request. So we'll get started here. So first of all, File Explorer, which has been previously known as Windows File Explorer, is a file management application that's been included with the releases of the Microsoft Windows operating system from Windows 95 onwards. It provides a graphical user interface for accessing the file systems. It's also part of the operating system that shows the files and folders contained on your hard drive. So we will be looking at this in depth. Some of the things that we'll be discussing this morning will be how to get into the file management application. Of course, the easiest way is by clicking on the file folder in the taskbar. There is a shortcut key, that's the Windows key plus E. Other ways you can open File Explorer is to right-click on the Start button and select File Explorer, or you can click on the File Explorer icon in the Navigational Pane on the Start menu. So let me just show you that. So if I go here to my Start menu and I right-click, you'll see where File Explorer is available here. Likewise, if I click on the Start button, you'll also find it in this case, it's most used, but it's also in I was thinking it was let me go back here. It will also be in the navigational pane. I apologize for that. The navigational panes in Windows Explorer, which I showed you, which is this area right here. My bad. So this is my navigational pane, and it should be under RFs. It's not. I will have to revise that because I thought it was located. It's showing up here because it's showing because I've been in it recently. But I was also thinking it was also in the navigational area. When you click on a letter, you go to the F's, it would be here, but it's not. But I'll find out more about that and get back with you. That's my error of that. But anyway, to move on, we're going to talk about what actually File Explorer comprises of. We have the File Explorer ribbon, which resembles the Microsoft Office ribbon. It has buttons for common tasks we can perform with our files and folders. I'll demonstrate that. The navigational pane, which lets us access your libraries, documents, and pictures, as well as the storage devices. Also, it features frequently used folders and network devices. The frequent folder section, which will be on the right of the windows, will feature the files and folders that you've worked with recently to allow quick access to them. It also will show recent files. So the things that we'll be discussing will be the navigational pane, which is this area right here, as you see my cursor, our frequent folders, and our recent files. So the navigational pane has, at the very top, an area is called Quick Access. And it creates shortcuts that allow you to access your files, folders that you frequently use. You can also pin the files and the folders from a library or storage area. You can drag and drop to move files and folders into the quick access area. Also, you have to be aware that the quick access is dynamic, and it can show up to 50 files and folders, and you can pin those that you do not want to roll off. I don't think you ever get 50 files or folders. I can't imagine anybody having that many, but it's a possibility. So let's just take a look at that. So this is my file manager, and this is my quick access. And as you can see that on the right side, you see the frequent folders, and you also see the recent files, and we'll come back and talk about that. But here is my quick access, and this is all the ones that I have accessed recently, and they will show up here based on the usage. But I can also drag things here that I want. Say, for instance, if I'm constantly using a file folder called, let's say I was working on my taxes this year and I wanted to move that into quick access. I'm just going to move that up, and all I have to do is just drag it to the very top and just drop it. And now it's here on my quick access. And even though this file folder is actually in OneDrive, which is cloud storage, it doesn't matter. I can move it to this area if it's something I want to use on a regular basis. Likewise, I can go down to this PC, and say I want to have my picture folder there, I can also do the same thing by just moving it up. And dropping it. Now remember, you want to drop it on the very top level so that it will become a become a folder under quick access. And likewise, if you decide that you no longer want anything here, you just need to right click and then come down and click on unpin from quick access. And then it will then remove it from this area. Now, a lot of things, a lot of people get confused about this because they think that this is a duplication of files and folders that are down below. Because as you use documents, the more frequently you use them, you will see them appear here. So some people have actually deleted folders that are in the lower area. And when you do that, you actually delete the file because through the quick access is basically shortcuts of files and folders that are in other locations. So it's all right to remove them from here, but don't also go here and delete them in the lower areas because you will actually delete that from your storage location. But just kind of keep that in mind. So while we're talking about the navigational pane, we see we have quick access. We just discussed that. And as you move down, you notice that I also have access to some cloud storage that I can also manage. And I have something that's called Creative Cloud Files, and this actually was put here by Adobe Acrobat, but it also allows me to manage those files and folders that's within that which is within their cloud system. I also have Dropbox, which I can also manage. And then the one that comes with in every installation of Microsoft of Windows is OneDrive. And OneDrive is the cloud storage that is available to you when you install Windows 10. It also becomes an integral part of Microsoft Office. And it's used like any other storage location. So I use OneDrive extensively, and it's just another, in my opinion, and in my use, it's for me, it's just another another storage location. I can move and manage files and folders just if I was using a physical hard drive. So I use it quite extensively. I save almost all my documents and here. So say for instance, if I decided that I did not want to have, I wanted to copy something from my OneDrive to my physical drive. And what I would do, if I was going to do that, I would scroll down to this PC because this is where my physical hard drive is, Windows C right there. And what I would do, I would create a new folder. And I would just right click here and sorry. Go here. And then I would come up here and let's see, this is good. I would click on new folder. And then I would give the new folder a name and say it was going to be taxes, 2019 taxes. So I'm going to put a 1 after that since there's already one there. All right, so now I have this folder here that has 2119 taxes. So I'm going to move this folder, to copy it down to my hard drive. So I'm going to remove it from cloud storage to copy it. So what I will do here is click on this. And then go up and so now I'm going to move this, or copy it rather, to my folder that's on my hard drive. So I'm going to click here, copy to, and then I'm going to go to that particular location. So I'm going to go down to the very bottom that says choose location, and then I'm going to scroll down to the location of that particular folder, which is right here. So now I can select that and just do copy. Well, not sure what happened here. Well, there's a technical problem, but typically you should be able to move anything from OneDrive down to your hard drive if you so desire, just by creating a folder and doing the copy to here. Not sure why it's not working. It says that there is a problem with the cloud server. So that's something that I'm not sure why it's doing that. But likewise, if you want to copy anything to and fro, you can use this either copy or move to. And then as we move down, we will find, these are all the different folders I have in OneDrive. And then the next level, of course, is this PC, which is the one that you're probably most familiar with. And this is where your physical hard drive resides. And that most people, if they do not use cloud storage, they save most of their documents here. So you have the typical folders that are created by Windows. You have documents, music, pictures, videos, and then of course you have all your auxiliary peripherals like your USB drives. In this case, there's 2 different drives I have. And then the last level, of course, is the network, which will show you all the different devices that you have on your network that you can also manage. If need be, you'll see your, if they're wireless, you'll see your printer, you'll see your scanners and all the different things that you have on your network. In this case, there's another computer, which is a laptop, which shows here. And this is the desktop that that I'm using at the very moment. I also have some media devices that are also attached. So these can be viewed from this area. Now, in order, if you don't see anything here, that means that you're going to get a message that's going to say file sharing is not turned on. So if you get that, you need to just go up and click on that, and it'll just go ahead and allow you to connect to that. But it's the network sharing. Which will take you to this area, and then you just need to go to the Network Sharing Center, and then enable under Change Advanced Sharing, and then go here and enable Turn on Network Discovery. And then those items will then show up in your File Explorer. Okay, so when you're in quick access, you're going to see your frequent folders, and these are all the folders that you have used within a certain period of time, as well as it's also going to show the recent files that you've also had. And you can go ahead and click on these, and that will bring up that particular document if without having to go to that particular file. It'll just it'll launch from here. Now, Windows by default, when you first go into File Explorer, it's going to show the quick access folder. That's the default setting. I will show you later how you can change that to to go to this PC. So one of the important features of the File Explorer is the ribbon bar, and that's what we will be talking about next. So we talked about managed cloud storage, and we talked about this PC, and we talked about network and recent files and folders. And now we're going to discuss the ribbon bar itself. So what the ribbon bar is the GUI that allows you a selection of functions and features. So it is divided into tabs. It will have home, share, view, and options. So we're going to look at each one of these in detail. So I'm now in my home view, and you can see where I can pin a folder to quick access. I can do copy, I can do paste, I can cut, I can copy a path, and I can paste a shortcut. And it all depends on the particular file or folder that you're in, whether these become active. So the ones that you see that are brightly colored are the ones that are actually available for you to use. So when you click on a file, you'll see that I have copy available, I have the copy path, I have copy to, I can show properties, I can open that particular document because it is a PDF. I can open it in PDF. I can also see the history, file history, and then of course select all, select none, and invert selection. So these different groups, clipboard, organize, new, open, and select, are part of the home tab. And each one of these functions are dependent upon what type of file that I have selected. If you notice here, I have the Swiss Army knife PDF that's selected. So that's why I have those. If I go down and select the Word document, I'll have basically the same things available. But notice here that it has now changed to open with Word rather than open with Adobe Acrobat. Likewise, if I was to select this one, it would then change to open with PowerPoint. But if I wanted to be able to copy that file or copy to another area, let's say, I can just select this drop-down box, and now I get the various areas that I can copy that to. Say, for instance, I wanted to copy to documents. I could click here, and now my favorite apps should be here in documents. So as you see, I was able to get to that. And I already demonstrated how you could also create a new folder just by clicking here. And I then get my new folder, and I can then just give it a name. We'll call it test folder. And here's my test folder. If I want to move a document to that, I could go here. And choose a file. And I'm going to do copy. And then I'm going to go to my let's take that one. And then I'm going to then move it to my test folder. And here's my test folder. And then I'm just going to click on copy. And again, I'm getting that same error. I'm not sure. There's a issue, I think, with my PC. I apologize for that. I'm not sure what's going on. But theoretically, that should have went ahead and copied that document to there, to the test folder. So we have these various functions that we can use when they're working that are available to us using this very convenient ribbon bar. And these two items particularly work very well. They're easier to use than trying to drag and drop an area, a particular file to a folder, and you're not always sure exactly where it's going to go. But here you have a precise way of determining the exact location, because it's going to give you the the files and folders that are available. And if you don't see them in the list, you can always go here and do choose location, and it'll bring up a dialog box that allows you to choose the correct folder that you want to move a file to. Our next tab is the Share tab. Oops, there it is. So here, again, you have those available to you. So I'm just going to cancel that. Our next tab is our Share tab. And this gives us some really nice capabilities where we can share documents and to various places and to social media. So say, for instance, I want to share this particular document. I can click share, and then it's going to give me some sharing options. One of those is mail, and I can choose that, and it will then allow me to give me some choices of how I want to individually mail that. I just select the one I want, and then it becomes an attachment, and I just have to address it. So that really becomes very convenient that you can do that on the fly without having to bring up your email. You can do it directly from File Explorer. And if you have a dedicated mail client, like say for instance, if you have Outlook, this particular icon will bring up the Outlook, or where you can mail it from that as well. You can also zip a file by just selecting it and then by choosing zip, and it will then compress that particular file for you. Likewise, you can burn to a disk. You can print directly from here without having to, if I wanted to print this particular document, I could just hit print, and then it would bring up my printer to choose from, and then I would be able to print that document right here without having to go to any other kind of application. Likewise with fax, I can fax directly here. If I want to share a document with specific people, I can also do that by choosing here, and anyone that's in my contact list, I would be able to share that document with. And if I no longer want to be able to share that, I can go here and remove that access. Here I have advanced security, which I can show who's allowed and who's not, as far as permissions to be able to edit that document, who it could be shared with, and any other things. So this is my sharing tab. I also have, the next one is my view tab. Now here, this controls the appearance of how I want my file manager to appear. So the navigational pane, which is this pane right here, it's that's the view I'm currently in. I can also go and allow it to expand to an open folder. I can show all folders and show libraries. Now, this is the libraries that we used to remember in previous versions of Windows. And when you click that, they will appear in this area. So you see where it says now says libraries, and you click that, and then you have the libraries that that were available, that actually displayed in previous versions of File Explorer. But Microsoft has now chosen to hide those. So if you're looking for them, you need to go here to the navigational pane, and then it will allow you to view those. Now you can customize the view of this whole screen by also adding the preview pane, which now allows you, if you have, say for instance, you select a picture, it will then view the picture um, over in the preview pane. Let me see, can I get one? Come here and see what we got here. Go to documents. Uh, okay. So just by hovering this, it will just bring up a view of that particular, or it would show in this area here. And that toggles off and on by just clicking on it. If I want to have details of everything, I can go here, and it then gives me, in this preview pane, it also will tells me the type of file and give me some information as to when it was created, the size, and its status, whether it's available online. Um, because of the status here, it shows that it is cloud and it's not available offline. If I want to change those to extra large, I can do that. And as you hover over these, you notice that they will change, and you can then decide which view is best for you. I think most of us like to use the detail. So that gives us the different layouts as to how we want to view this particular screen here. On the current view, you can sort your files by name and put them ascending order. You can also sort them by status. So that means that all the ones that are here are these are all cloud storage, but if there's some that are that have a different status, like they're online, they would be all sorted by that category. I can also do size. and you can put them in ascending or descending order. And then you can further do it. You can go by group, and you can do name. And as you notice, when I do this now, what has happened is that all the numerical files have now moved to the top. And then the next group is through A through H. And then the ones that are I through P, etc. So what I did here was use the group by, and I put name and ascending. And so that gave me this this type of grouping. And you can change that however you desire or customize it. Or if you don't want any, just do none, and then it becomes just one group of files that are in that are sorted by ascending order. So you have your dates and then alphabets. You can also do a size by column, which allows you to size all columns to fit. So what happens is that they all become the length of the longest file that is in the group. Since we have this, we'll just take this preview deal out of here. So take that off. One of the things that you probably will want to do is to have the item checkbox. And the item checkbox allows you to be able to check a particular file that you want to select. Without that, you you have no way of, you can select them differently. Some people like this, some people don't, but the checkbox to me is very, very handy. So I always use that. And of course, the extensions is the other one that is helpful, because without it, then you no longer, you can tell by the icon of what the file is, but if you want to know what the extension, the file name extension, you can click that and then it will provide you that information. You also can hide a particular item. Say, for instance, if there is if I no longer want to be able to see that, I can select it and then I can go here, hide item. And it then becomes grayed out. You also can hide selected items. By clicking here, selecting it, and then clicking it, and then it's no longer viewed. And then if you want them back, you just click on the icon again, and they will show back up. Now we talked about how File Explorer first opens with quick access. If we go here to options, we can change that behavior by going to change folder and search options. And here you'll get this dialog box, and it will then say open File Explorer with quick access. If I no longer want that to occur, I can change that to this PC. So now when I open File Explorer, it will then default back. I'm going to close it. Now when I open File Explorer, it opens up in this PC. And a lot of people prefer that because this is more the traditional place where that they are in previous systems. It always would open up, and then you'd be right here where you have your C drive and everything else. But I personally prefer to be in quick access. Not that you can't get to it, but it's just how it opens when you initially start File Explorer. So by going here to options, you can just go here and select the drop-down box to quick access. Now also here you have some other things that you can do with the folders, such as selecting single click or double click to open a particular file or folder. It also gives you some privacy options, show recently used files in quick access, show frequently used files. So if these are unchecked, then these this area it will not display. And then you can also clear your history. And then under View tab is the more traditional things that I think we've familiar with in previous ones of previous versions of Windows, that you can apply different views of files and folders, always show icons, never thumbnails, etc. And you can just go down the list and choose the various ways of how you want to customize File Explorer for yourself. And then, of course, there's the search options of how files are indexed. When you choose some of these boxes, like this one in particular, do not use index when searching, it makes searches longer because they're no longer indexed. But you can do some other choices here as well. So the next thing I want to show is how to search File Explorer, because that's something that we always, when we get ready to save things, we never know exactly. The big question is says, where did it go? So if that should happen to you, then you can always use the search box that's available to you in File Explorer. in this case, search the PC, you can just put the particular file. Say, for instance, I'm going to choose a file that I'm pretty sure is on here. It's called @match. And you see already those all show up. And so I can click that, and then it will then bring up that particular file in whatever it was created. So in this case, it was created in Word, so it's showing up in Word. So that's one way to find a file or a folder. The other way, of course, is you can always go here to the search that's built in, that's on the taskbar, and type in the same thing, and you'll get your file that you're looking for in that manner. But the question comes is that when you get ready to save something, is that, say, for instance, I'm going to change this. Okay, so I'm working on a Word document. I'm going to bring up a new Word document. And I'm going to click on New Blank Document. And there's a couple things that you need to be aware of. And I was not aware of this until I was talking with Judy, and she pointed out something which I was not aware of. Is that since I use OneDrive, is that when I create a new document, and I'm just going to say this is a test, and when I get ready to save it, it comes up and says, of course, save as, because it's a new document. But if you notice here, when I click on this, I'm going to get some choices of locations. And those choices of locations is OneDrive, this PC, or I can browse. Now, if you're fairly sure that you want to save it to this particular folder, then you can go ahead and click that. And then that will put it in OneDrive under Personal. So I now get this dialog box. Notice it says OneDrive Personal. Then I enter the file name. And then I can go here and select what folder I want to put that in. And that's the part that's really important, is that is what folder you're going to put that in. So if I give this a file name, test document, rather than click saving here, I can go down and select the folder that I want to put that in. So let's just say we're going to put it in the APCUG folder. So I'll click that, and now that test document, I'll do save. All right. So now the issue is finding out where I saved it. So I know that I saved it under OneDrive. So I'm going to go here to OneDrive, and it's personal, and there's my APCUG folder, and I should have that document here that says test document. Okay, so when that happens, thought I had put it where I thought I had put it, which I'm sure has happened to all of us, what I will do is go here to Word and then go here to File and then look and see it says here it's test document, DOC, OneDrive, personal APCUG. But the problem that I'm pretty sure has happened is I didn't close the document. So that's the reason why it's not appearing. So when I close this, now when I go back here to APCUG in this list, it should be here. You're seeing some real world experience here.
Bill, just wonder if there's a problem that you had earlier with your OneDrive that you're maybe not logged in to install anything new.
No, I didn't. I'm not sure. I haven't done anything because it's sure not connected. Let's try another one and let's see what happens here. What not using, let's save it to someplace else and see if we have the same problem. So anyway, I'll go back to Word. And this time I'm going to save it to my PC. So we're going to do a new blank document. We'll give it this, we'll say this is a test document. So I'm going to go here to File. And this time I'll do a save as I did before, but rather than save it to OneDrive, I'm going to save it to this PC. So here I'll give it a name, document 2. And I'll go down and select the location. And I'm going to select Documents. And I'm going to select Bills folder. Apparently there's another document by that name, but not really. So then I'm just going to do Save. Now we'll go up here, back to our File Manager. And this time we'll scroll down to this PC. And we'll select Documents. And we'll go to Bills Documents. Our Bills folder, rather. And see, it's there. So I'm probably having a problem with my OneDrive, which I don't know why, but I guess my point to all of that was this, is that when you're saving the document and you want to be able to go to File Manager at some point and recover it, make sure that when you do your file and you do your save as, that the way Word is working these days is that you make sure that you type in the name and then either create a new folder to place it in, which I can do that too, or scroll down below and select the folder that you want to place it into. But if I wanted to create a new one, I could. By just clicking here, and then I can give it a name, and then that will then place the folder in my File Manager. Let's just call this APCUG test, and do OK. And now there's the folder. So I'm going to select that. And it says there's nothing there because this document hadn't been saved. But then when I click Save, it will then appear in that folder. So now I can go here and go back up here to APCUG because I'm still in my and there's my APCUG test folder, and I click, and then there's the document. So likewise, if this was working properly, I would be able to do the same thing with OneDrive, is I would be able to go here and save a file or folder in the same manner. The only difference is that this would be in the cloud and the other one's on my hard drive. If I want to, as I said earlier, if I wanted to move something from the cloud to my hard drive, what I would do is just go down and create the folder in this PC, and then just use the move to a copy to function to move that file to that folder. I'm wondering if I just restart. I'm going to close this out and see if I can start it again and see if I can get that to work. So I have this document. Oh, now the preview is working. And I'm going to copy it to OneDrive. I'm sorry, I'm going to copy it to this PC. So I'm going to go copy, and then I'm going to go down to choose location. And I'm going to go here, make sure I'm in this PC, which I am. I'm in this PC, and I'm going to copy it to copy it to documents, and I'll copy it to bills folder and do copy. Okay, it worked that time. So now I can go over here to this PC, documents, go to bills folder, and see it copied. There's the second copy. So it worked that time. So it's just a matter of, you can manage your files and folders regardless of where they're located, whether it's in OneDrive or in this PC, just like you would any other physical drive. And vice versa. If I want to move something, hopefully this is going to work this time. If I'm going to move my tax folder, let me make sure I don't have that down here. Okay, well, I'm going to delete this folder. And I'm going to delete this folder. Okay. Now, what I want to do is that this folder right here, which is in the cloud, I want to move it to my local drive. So I'm going to go down here, and in this PC, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to do it in documents. So, okay. So I'm going to put a new folder, and I'm going to name it 2019 taxes. Like so. All right. So I got my new folder here, 2019 taxes, which shows it's there. Now, I now want to go up here to my cloud storage of my OneDrive, and I'm going to select that. And I have all those folders selected, and I want to copy that information to my this PC. There's my documents. So I'm going to click that, and now I'm going to say copy. That's the same error. Don't know. That's interesting. Well, I have no answer for that. You know something? I'm going to uncheck these two. Now, I'm going to copy to. It's just not working. Don't know. I thought I had it pretty much fixed. All right. So John,
I was trying to move your mouse when it was not my mouse. It was your mouse.
I'm sure after this little exercise, there's probably tons of questions.
I would probably agree. And
so let's get started. Take me to task.
Okay, let's go and call on Judy and let her share the first questions and things.
From May Merrill from Villages Computer Club and me, why would you want to copy a path?
Why would you want to copy a path?
Yes.
That is a good question. All right. And I don't know if I know the answer to that.
When I was putting the handout together last night, I put it in there, but I had no clue what it was.
All right, I have that document. Hold on a second.
I'll research it.
No, I have it right here. I can think of a number of cases, but I don't know if that's would be the answer that. Come on.
I've got another question.
Go ahead while we're working on that.
There's nothing in my document that answers it. I just have the screenshot in there. From Tom, from your group, I also have my files grouped by name and ascending order, but he does not have them grouped 0 to 9, A to I, or J to P. Is this a 2004 version update? He is still using 1909.
I don't think so. What you need to do is go here and you want to go up to view, and then where it's, you know, the thing that's really been bothering me is this blasted toolbar. All right, so up here where it says group by, you want to click on name, and then you want to, and then you will see the 09 in those categories. Tom, try it now and see if you get it.
Another question from Tom. Search view and then options under folder options. What is the difference between thumbnails and icons?
I think it's the size. So, in other words, small icons.
Icons just look like file folders and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, that's the small. This is extra large. I don't see thumbnails here though, actually.
You got to scroll down. There's one more row.
Oh, is there one more row? Hold on a second. No.
Oh, nope.
Nope.
I don't have thumbnails, John.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the thumbnails on the side.
Oh, these right here?
Thumbnails. I think the thumbnails that would show up in your preview.
Yeah.
So he can ask his question himself.
Yeah. See, I would consider those, I imagine on the pictures, it probably works better. Let's see, let me just go to pictures and see if there's if it changes. So we do pictures. No. Nope.
Susan says, when she saves a document on her PC, does it automatically save to OneDrive? She's also had to add iCloud storage for her Apple products that sync to her PC. So it would save there automatically. So she'd like to know whether when she saves something on her PC, it is also going to be saved in OneDrive and iCloud.
I would say I would say no, because here's the deal, is that when you save a document, like we did a while ago when this was working properly, this is my, my Word document. When I save it, I'm going to go File, and I'm going to do, if it's a new document, I'm going to do Save As, and then I have to select the location. In this case, I want to save it to OneDrive. So I would save it to this location, and then you'd have to go back and save it to iDrive. They're not going to sync together to my knowledge unless you have a feature in your settings that allows you to sync the two with one stroke, but I doubt it. I think you're going to have to save them separately. It's just like if I wanted to save this document to OneDrive, I would save it here, then I go back and then come back and then save it to this PC. So then I'd have it in both, but the two won't be synced together. If I make changes to this, it will not change this document that's here on my hard drive.
Yeah, I think it's possible that if the OneDrive had a link to your documents, that if you saved it in your PC documents, then the link would show up in the OneDrive.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But the
But
problem
I
you'd
don't-
have if you were trying to access it away from home, if your PC wasn't on, you might not get to it.
No, the only one you'd be able to get to is the one in OneDrive. And so if you make changes to that document while you were traveling, then when you got home, you'd have to save it again to this PC to make them match up. That's a
Bill,
good question.
Okay,
Yes.
I had a question that when you look on your navigation tree, you have 3 different cloud things, and somebody want to know, why do you have 3 different cloud things? You've
Okay.
got the create.
Because I have a Dropbox account and I have a OneDrive account. And this one right here was created by Adobe because they also have cloud storage as well. I haven't not saved anything to that as yet because I just hadn't had the need to do that, but that's why. And I also, so that's the reason why, because I use these. So I have Dropbox on my phone, so I can get to my Dropbox documents that are saved here. And also, likewise, I have a OneDrive application on my phone where I can get to my OneDrive.
Did you have Dropbox way long ago?
I had Dropbox way before I got OneDrive.
That's what I was thinking. And you didn't think you'd move all your Dropbox to OneDrive and then not have to use Dropbox?
Never considered that.
How do you remember which is in which place?
That's a good question. If I don't find one, I just go look at the other one.
Okay, Sharon wants to know something, and I'll answer her question. She wanted to download the Honey program that was just purchased by PayPal. They also own Venmo.
Yeah.
And it's a discount program. You even get discounts at Amazon.
Yeah.
And she said it said installing the program permits it to make changes to this computer. My answer would be, Sharon, it all depends on how much you want that Honey program. I have it. And if you can do a custom install, possibly you can uncheck the boxes. As I say, smell the roses. Bob G says use unchecking. But you need to decide if it's worth it to you to, it's just like downloading any app to your phone or your PC. It's up to you on how much.
Yes, but the
how
other
much
thing,
you want it.
yeah, and the other thing, if you don't check the box, because that's really a rhetorical question. It doesn't sound. It sounds more. What's the word I want to use? Threatening than it really is, because that's just Windows saying that there's a application that's going to change some files on your computer. It's just a warning. But if you say no, then that program will not install.
G has a question. He has an external USB drive that's not showing up in File Manager. It shows in Device Manager, but not in File Explorer. He's tested it on different computers without problems, but he needs to know how he can get it to show on the computer he's using as we speak. Hey, Harmon raised his hand. He's got an answer. John, do you want to unmute Harmon, please?
I think just a second. I don't see a hand for Harmon.
He was waving it in his thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I think I have an answer.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying that there is probably an issue with the USB port on that computer. You might, have you tried using something else that that connects?
An answer, you have to
Bob, if you jiggle it in the port, does it show, or does it try to show?
Oh, shoot. I just asked him to unmute himself.
Okay.
And he
Thank you. No, it doesn't. I've changed ports. I've changed different connections. Everything else works in it, but this drive does not. When I take it to another computer, it works without problems. It's one particular computer, and it's a drive I've been using to do my weekly image backups. Eventually,
is there a possibility of conflict on the drive letter?
no, it doesn't even show up. And I've wiped out the drive letters. I've disconnected the drive. I've reconnected the drive. I've totally disconnected everything and then plugged it back in from scratch. As I said, it shows up in my device manager, but it doesn't show up in the Explorer.
And
if it doesn't show up in Explorer, you can't use it.
Is it showing up as a different name, maybe?
Nope.
I've not heard of that
Yep.
before.
You have to use that computer that it doesn't work with. Can you use a different one?
Yeah,
That's the easy solution.
I can't make a backup of this computer on that external hard drive if it doesn't show up. And it already has backups or images of this particular hard drive. It just happened all of a sudden. It was there one week, and the next week it came back with an error message that it can't find that hard drive.
That's a Microsoft problem, not
Yep.
Bill James.
Yep. Now, I can answer Bill James's problems with his trying to move his files. Bill had selected folder. Then he created a folder, and he was now trying to move a folder onto a folder that already exists. You can move files into a folder, but you can't move a folder into an existing folder. You're going to get an error message.
Well,
However-
that's true.
Now,
However-
you could have not made that folder, just simply selected the folder itself, and then select to move the folder to the top
But Bob,
spot
but
to
Bob, those were-
documents itself, and it would have automatically created that folder for you with all of the files in it.
But I'll come to Bill's defense. Now, he went through and did a check all and just copied all those folders, and it wouldn't work.
yeah,
No,
all the
he had
files.
checked the box for the folder.
Nope,
Okay, that automatically checked all of the files within it, but he had the folder itself checked.
No,
And
well,
when you do that, you're trying to move a folder into a folder that's already in existence.
well, this is the folder right here. See, it
Right.
has no nothing in it. So then I went up to OneDrive.
OneDrive,
here,
yep, right.
And all right, so now those
You
are
can
the,
select all of the files, but don't select the folder, because then you have a folder trying to be moved over.
Well,
Yeah, but
he
that's
had
what-
selected it.
that's what I did. It's not working. See, I did this. Well, let's see, I have to go back.
No. You did the top part. You selected the folder itself.
All
That
right, let me-
automatically selects all of the files. But it's just showing you that everything within it is now select it,
Well,
and
let
then
me
you
show-
can't move it.
Let me show you what I did. All right, so there they are. I'm selecting all of these.
That's a single file.
Yeah.
You'd have to select all of them, and that's not what you did. You selected the folder itself,
I
and
think
that will then
I
check
think
off
he
all of
selected
them.
the files.
All right, I'm going to select them all now.
Okay, and then it'll work fine. Select the first one, and then hit the shift button and select the last one.
Or do
Shift
Oh,
button
come on,
and the
Bob.
last
We
one.
use checkboxes.
Control A will do the same thing.
All right, so
Right.
there we go.
Yep. And now you don't have all of them yet.
Oh. All right, there. And what I was going to do, I went up here and I said, move all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to copy, right?
yes.
Yeah.
That's what I said. So I
Copy.
copied.
Okay.
And then I went down here and choose location.
Yep.
Then I went here. This right here is, I'm hoping is in this PC because that's where they are. And that's the folder.
Documents. Yeah.
That-
Go to
And then I
Q19.
do copy. And I get an error.
Yeah, he had done that before, Bob. There, the key is there is a
If you do
server
a right,
not running.
if you do a right server not running,
Yep.
then his OneDrive isn't working.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
Which is what we kind of talked about earlier.
Okay, I have another question. Susan has taken her question down a little bit. She would like to know if she saves a document on her hard drive, will it automatically save to OneDrive?
No.
So you cannot use OneDrive as a backup drive.
Well, yeah, you can, but you have to save it in both places. But they're not going to be synced together.
But you can tell OneDrive to automatically save everything you put into one folder. So if you're putting your files into a folder and then tell OneDrive to copy everything in that folder, it will automatically be saved in OneDrive.
Yeah, but she's saying if she saves something in on her hard drive, this PC, will it also save in OneDrive? And the answer is no. Because you have to have some way, you have to save it in both places. You have to save it in OneDrive and then go back and save it in this PC.
No.
But the problem you have is that the two will not be synced together. So if you make changes to one, it won't make changes to the other.
But if you tell OneDrive to automatically back up that folder and your file is in that folder, it will automatically update OneDrive.
Okay,
It
Bob,
won't be instantaneous.
how do we do that?
Go into your OneDrive settings and tell it what you want it to back up. Select the folder to which you put those things on your computer. So if you want all items and documents, then you tell OneDrive that you want it to sync documents. And it'll then, everything you do in documents automatically goes up to the cloud.
So, all right, let's just see that, because Judy's been talking about that and I've been talking about that, and we can't seem to figure out how that works.
Like this.
You have to go into your settings for OneDrive.
That's where I'm going.
Also, there was a question about why would you want to ever save a oh, shoot.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
A path. Okay, I do lots of helping other people, and quite often you need to tell them where a certain file is located. Doing a right click on a file, an option is to save its path, and you can then just simply copy it, paste it into whatever you're working on the customer with, and they now know exactly where to look on their computer to find a certain file.
Okay. Now I'm lost. I don't know how to get to,
It's an app. OneDrive is an app, right? Go open that app and go to your settings in that app. Should be in your system tray,
there it is.
right hand side.
I got it. Okay, so, see, it just comes right here. Settings. Okay.
What's it say under backup?
Where'd you see backup?
Settings, account, and then it's backup.
Next tab.
Next one.
Oh, the next tab. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right. Backup my files on desktop, document, and pictures to
Yeah, it says
OneDrive.
manage. And then you can select what folders you want backed up.
These folders are syncing in OneDrive. New
Right.
and existing files will be added to OneDrive. Backup.
Correct.
And the
You have desktop, documents, and pictures. So anything you put into any of those folders on your computer automatically go up to the cloud. You don't have to use all of those folders. If you don't want your backup, your desktop done, you get rid of it. If you have a special folder someplace in program files or whatever, you may have set up a special folder, you can add that to these.
Okay, let's just break this down. Susan asked a question about what she put into
Documents.
Saves on her hard drive, automatically saves on OneDrive, and she wants to use it as a backup.
Where on the hard drive? You can't back up the whole hard drive.
no,
That's
just
not what
the,
I'm saying. She's talking about her files and folders.
Which folder?
Well, documents.
Okay,
Pictures.
then add documents to what is being synced.
So right here, documents
Right now,
is being synced.
all of his is being synced automatically. All of my documents automatically are synced to OneDrive. As I make changes, it automatically makes updates up in the cloud.
okay, I was
Okay.
unaware of this. All right,
Yep.
Susan. So you need to go. How did we get there? We went there by
Your settings, and then under backup,
I went here to here on my file manager, and I right clicked, and I get this, and then I go to settings. Okay, and then it was backup. It's that
Backup.
tab, but there's
Yep.
another one here too. So if I right click
and then manage,
it
and
says
then manage backup.
manage OneDrive, and
Okay, what's right there? We see a gray box under those three. Is that where you add more? Because we can't see it.
the gray box.
Okay, right now, where is the button that says add any more folders?
It doesn't. There's not any more buttons. I guess this is you can only do your desktop, your documents, and your pictures.
Well, then that's a problem because I customize my folders and I have an APCUG folder that's not under documents because I want my APCUG stuff. So how would I be able to back that up automatically, sync it?
It has to be in the documents folder.
I don't
Because
want
see,
to be.
I have an APCUG folder also that's separate.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so here's the deal. So but is it saying, Bob, now all these folders are being backed up?
Yes.
No, those are his OneDrive folders.
See, that's my only folder I have that's documents right there. So if I right click on, well, let me do this. I'm gonna right click on this right here where it says documents. Nope. So it's only under this heading here, OneDrive. I right click, and then I have settings, or I have managed. Either one of those do the same thing, it seems like. If I do manage OneDrive backup, I still get the same thing. And there's no, let me just click on this and see, it doesn't give me any view. All I have is stop backup. That's interesting. Well, Susan, you can try it.
Okay. If you go
Says
into
thank you.
preferences, backup and sync, and then you have desktop, documents, pictures, choose folder.
Where do we see that now?
No, Bob will send me those, and I will put them in the Q&A.
Yeah, okay. Well, we did learn something on that. You got more questions?
Hey, hello.
Yes.
Yes.
More questions?
What have I been saying?
Everybody learned something.
I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't have any more questions in my thing here. I've answered a couple of them, simple ones that I know just by,
Well, and we also should add with the OneDrive, you have to set it up or it's not going to work.
I personally would use another cloud backup, but that's just me.
Me too.
I use iDrive. Everybody in the whole world, bloggers, etc., they all love iDrive. It happens to be in Calabasas, which is 2 valleys to the left of me in SoCal.
Too expensive.
Too expensive?
Google Drive
to my
is much
kids.
cheaper.
I use mega.nz. They give you 15 gigabytes free, and it's very, very secure.
Remove what you've got up there.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious about that because
We'll work on it later.
yeah.
If you have a backup that you like, would you put it in the chat box, please? And I can share it with everybody. We always like to get a referral from somebody. And we kind of know all you guys, at least I do. So that would be great. I'm going to do that right now. And I'm going to say iDrive. So there.
Also, I'll take a quick pause. If you came in late and you don't have a first and last name with your participants, you will not get any of the follow-ups unless you change your name so it goes to the records, or you send Judy a chat with your first and last name. But there are still a few people.
I have pulled it down to 4 people who are not going to get handouts.
Oh, good for you.
Which is not too shabby. I started out with 8.
Do I get a handout automatically?
Do we see your first and last name on this list?
Right, you do, Murray Strom.
Then you get it. We're
Okay,
talking
thanks.
about people like the person who is call-in user 1. They will.
Oh, okay.
4, 7, 9. Somebody's RT. Somebody's Carol. I have 4 Carols.
Somebody is Tom.
And somebody, I forgot that one. And computer help.
Okay, and then I did put up the link to that mega.nz in the chat area to Judy.
Thank you, Murray. I appreciate that.
Okay, let's ask if there's any more questions that Bill needs to have his screen showing. And if not, then we can continue discussion as we usually do.
Yeah.
I have
And,
a question.
Good, ask that question.
Okay. I want to take some stuff off my computer because I keep getting these things that I can't get any more emails because it's full. Can I put this stuff on a USB drive or an outside thing? You know, can I take all my files, my pictures, and can I put them on a USB drive or an extra?
External hard drive.
yes,
Right.
Yes.
yes, you
Okay.
can.
Well, the problem is if you have your email is full, you have a limit as to how much email you can put with your service.
Yeah, she should make sure she deletes all her trash and all her spam.
Yeah, I've done that, but
And then start look at your inbox and see you've probably got 1,000 messages that you don't need anymore. Start at the old ones and see if you really need them, and if you don't, delete them.
I'm doing that. But I'd like to also take the pictures off that I have on there. And
Well, then
put
what
them
you
on
want to do is download them to your computer and then copy them onto your hard drive. You can click on the right click on the attachment to those pictures or the picture on the screen and say save as, and then you can save it as whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Linda, sort your email by date and start deleting from the bottom. Those 1998 emails, you don't need them anymore.
Okay.
Bill, go ahead and stop sharing in case, and if you need to come back to that, you can, then people can see each
Okay.
other.
And I got some, I'm going to save this chat because I got some stuff that was sent to me. I'll send it to you guys. All right.
Even though we told people don't send to Bill, he can't see them when he's working.
I see them now.
I hope he doesn't have chats. Questions.
I do.
If
I have
Bill
chat.
has questions, that means you guys live up to my expectations that you don't pay attention. That's
have-
my teacher hat on there and my mom hat.
I have chat questions, but anyway.
God,
Yeah.
please save me.
This is Pam. I have a question.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for, Pam.
I currently work at the FAA, and they're going to OneDrive, and they keep saying that it's synced, and it's synced. But when I ask them the question, if I create a document on my hard drive, does it automatically back up to the OneDrive? Is it synced in that way? And they can't seem to answer the question. So what I'm hearing is that if the word synced is actually being used, then you have to set those settings.
You have
When
to do
Bob
what-
sends me the instructions on how to do that, I'll forward them to you and you can give it to the FAA IT people and say, hi, here.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's sometimes confusing is there is a folder on your computer for OneDrive. And when stuff goes into that, then it's synced to the clouds folder that you can access from anywhere. So that's syncing that way. You're storing it on your computer, and then it gets synced up. Just like with Dropbox, if I put something in my Dropbox folder, then it goes up to the cloud and I can access it from the web or another computer.
And I used to use Dropbox a lot. It was my absolute favorite cloud application because it was the easiest, most intuitive system to use and easy to share with other people. But the problem is that they changed their policy not long ago for the free version. You can only have 3 devices. So that's why I have moved mostly to mega.nz. It's not as fast and not as easy to use, but at least I can use it for all of my devices. But that was a real pain for me for Dropbox. I have quite a large storage capacity, but you know, I mean, a lot of my computers are grandfathered in, so I do have more than 3 devices. But for example, I've had to replace a couple of computers, and those ones I can't connect to Dropbox anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I have like 61.6 gigabytes of cloud storage on OneDrive.
Oh, you conned a lot of people into using it, didn't you?
I don't know. I was grandfathered.
Well, everybody, all of the directors and advisors had Dropbox because APCUG used that for a while. And we were all encouraged to, you know, do our best to get other people. So we got stuff, and we eventually had too much. And we use Google Drive for all our backups and sharing.
And it's especially good for photos if you can handle, well, Google Photos.Google, I guess it's called, because you have unlimited storage if you're willing to live with the slightly reduced quality. And you know, I use that as the sort of the main backup for my photos. I also do keep them all in full resolution on external hard drives or other hard drives, but for making sure that I have them all and being able to share them with people, that is really the best one, because it is unlimited storage, which is great.
Yeah. Well, what I said, I have 63 gigabytes of cloud storage on OneDrive and 3 gigabytes on Dropbox.
And then I have about 4 terabytes of photos altogether.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think we want to go back and do a wrap up on the File Explorer. And what I saw today was that you can customize File Explorer to work for your, you know, what we call workflow. And I was joking with Judy the other day, and we talk about how many file drawers do you have in your file cabinet, since that's what the File Explorer is supposed to be. So, you know, that's the thing. Just because Microsoft sets you up with certain folders, you can customize your home setting and make it as easy and as quick, because somebody did ask the question, was quick access folders the same as the home folders, or were they different? Well, no, they're the same.
Yeah, the ones in Quick Assist are just shortcuts.
Yeah, those are just shortcuts. So it's the same. It's the same problem that the File Explorer has, showing your thumb drives twice. I don't like that.
Yeah, I have that problem with some of my external hard drives too.
Yeah. So, you know, customize your File Explorer to best work for you because you're allowed to.
Yeah.
The other thing the other thing, I don't know if you covered, I missed a little bit of it, but if you have something like, well, for example, I have a Western Digital internet or Wi-Fi connected hard drive, and you can access that from the File Explorer, and you can set it up so that it's permanently mounted as if it were just a simple external or internal hard drive. And that's very, very handy, because it means that you can transfer stuff to, you know, I have a fairly large one, and I also have another hard drive, same kind of thing, connected to my router that I have permanent, that automatically mounts whenever I start Windows. I've forgotten exactly how you do it, but there's a way of, if you go through your network, find a network drive, or maybe even a shared one on another computer, you can then have an option of clicking on it and setting it up to be a virtual drive on your computer.
Yeah, I think, Mary, it's located here. It would be in this group. When you go down to network, it would show here.
That's right.
It would be one of these guys.
That's right. And then you can set one of those up to be an actual, to look as if it is a hard drive on your computer.
Correct.
The other thing, while Bill's got this that I don't remember hearing, and I do 2 jobs at once, is that a lot of times you saw Bill going to his File Explorer by doing a right click to a menu, to go to the taskbar or whatever. If you don't know the Windows shortcut for Explorer, it's the Windows key E, and that gets you there real fast without doing any kind of mouse work and menu work, just Window key E.
Correct. And I put that in the very, at the very beginning. But I don't know if it would have worked the way I was trying to do it. Let's see. When I was doing that, I was in the PowerPoint and I lost my taskbar. So let's try that and see if that works.
File Explorer with keyboard shortcuts are in the handout you'll receive.
Yeah. And I mentioned that. So I was here, and if I would have done Windows E, it'll brought it up. So I could have done it that way without having to do what I was doing. Because what I was doing, as John appropriately mentioned, I was right-clicking on PowerPoint and then going to screen to show my taskbar so I could get to it. But I could have just done Windows E and it would have brought it up, which would have been much smoother. We live and learn.
Yeah.
We live and learn.
The other thing, when you while you're right there, go to the view, and you mentioned about the extensions.
Yes.
That the one reason we want that to, we recommend that you have that turned on is so that those bad guys can't sneak a file in called apple.jpg, and it's really apple.jpg.exe. And so without the extension showing, you would just see apple.jpg because that's the official name.
Yeah.
With the extensions, you will see that Apple JPEG is an executable file, and you don't want to run that.
Okay, you see where the extension is showing here? If I uncheck that box, it'll come back and the extensions are all missing.
Yeah, but those
so
tricky.
You have no idea, as John says, if it's an executable or JPEG or whatever, but when you click on name file extension, your extensions all show. Because even though that says it's a Word document right there, it could very well have a JPEG extension on it, and that would still show as a Word document.
Click on the drop down on add column so we can see what additional columns. I have file size added for me.
Okay, so here, the drop down box, which is not working.
Mine wouldn't work either. I was hoping yours did.
Hold on a second. Oh, it's grayed out. So
Yeah, because you got to be in detail view.
okay, so there we go. Now it's there. Now I have it. So you have status, date modified, type, size, date created, authors, categories, tags, and title. Or you can go here and say choose columns.
Go to your pictures folder so we can see that.
Do what?
Pictures folder will show the size column.
Oh, it shows right here too.
It never shows the folder, so you don't look for it under folder.
Now it's grayed out again.
Go to documents view again. Or detailed, I'm sorry.
Detail, hold on a second. Yeah, details. Okay, details, and there's size.
But folders are never given size, so you have to go to a file.
Yeah, apparently, Judy, in pictures, that's a default because I didn't select that.
I had to add it.
You don't have to, it's already there.
Mine wasn't. Thank you anyway.
You probably added it a long time ago and it remembered it for that folder.
That's possible. And that's the other thing I didn't mention is that these are independent of one another. So you could have that view on one folder and a different view on another folder. I failed to mention that. So each folder is independent of one another. So if I, on this one right here, if I wanted to have add a date created, it would be on this folder.
Uncheck the preview pane up at the top.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, date created. But if I went here to documents, that's not necessarily going to apply to that one unless I go here and add it.
Add it.
Yeah, because each one's different. See, each folder, you can customize each folder to show what information you want it to show, and it's independent of all other folders.
Please click.
Do
Oh.
what?
Click on it.
Please click on date created.
Oh,
Oh, cool, because when you put things up to OneDrive, it gives all your folders the date that it went up to OneDrive. So everything that I put back on my D drive
let's see.
has May 16 as the day, and I like to know when my folder was created. Thank
let
you
me
so
do
much.
this. Let's
That was
see.
important to me.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put date created and see what date's on there.
Can you make the details view a system default?
Yeah,
Correct.
see, Judy, that's not necessarily true because all these dates are different.
I know.
But
That's when they were.
that's the date I created those files.
Right.
But that's in
That-
OneDrive.
I know, but I'll do that on my hard drive.
Yeah, because you see that the first file is a date modified on the 6/13/2020, but the date created was 2 days later. That doesn't make sense.
Right, because I have folders now on my D drive that were created either it's immaterial in May, when actually they've been there for 15 years.
That's
Well,
because you
I like
copied
to
them.
see that date.
Sometimes when you copy them to a new place, they'll get the new date.
Yeah, because
That's
I'm
what
pretty
happened when
sure-
I uploaded everything to OneDrive. Okay, I have another question. So can you make the details view the system default?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Once you choose details
How?
view, it's going to be that way forevermore until you change it again.
For
How-
just that folder.
It's just that folder. You can't make it.
Yeah.
You can't make it across the board. That's
Yep,
what
go
I
up-
said
go up to
earlier.
options.
Sure you can.
Go up to options.
Because that's the view I use for everything.
Yeah. And then
I like the home view better.
you like the home view. Yeah, everybody has their own.
Yep.
And you can see where it says apply to all folders. And that become the default.
Okay, I have another question,
Of
which
what-
isn't about folders.
Of what's checked here.
Up at the top, yeah. No, that's the advanced settings. But if you just click that, it should make all of your folders open up the next time as detailed.
If that's checked in this box right here.
Just up at the top.
Where it says apply to folders.
I see that, but
Now say,
it's only going to apply to these that's checked here, right?
nope, that's advanced stuff.
Right.
So now go ahead and say, click that one.
Oh, I see. It says, do you all want all folders to match this folder's view settings?
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, I see that. And my answer to that is no.
Okay, so Pat, that was an answer for you. Murray says, and he's back to Ubuntu again. Does anybody know when the full Ubuntu with desktop will be available?
I don't
Don't
understand.
everybody talk at once.
What word did he say?
What was the question again? I can answer.
When will this is for John Kennedy. When
Yep.
will the full Ubuntu with desktop be
Oh,
available?
Ubuntu. Oh, I got
With
you.
Windows?
Yes,
Yeah,
Windows,
I mean, basically, I know I've seen in the inside. I am on the Insiders program, and I have seen one of the announcements that they are going to make it available. And I have also seen some people have found ways to do it. Right now, under the bash settings, I am running Ubuntu 20.04, but that is just the terminal mode. And what I would really like to do, a lot of my computers, I do a dual boot. So I have Ubuntu, which I use more than Windows anyway. But I do have Ubuntu dual boot, but that's a pain to have to reboot to get into the other operating system. Lots of times I do use the Ubuntu command line stuff for stuff that I can do with command line under Windows, but I know that they're supposed to be making it so that you could have a full-blown version with the regular Ubuntu desktop under Windows 10. But
well, that's going to be through the virtual machine.
Oh, okay, that's the only way they're going to do it.
Yeah, and what I would say personally would be ditch Windows, run Ubuntu, and then run Windows as a virtual machine inside of.
Okay, now the question I have about that is, okay, if I'm on this computer and I run Ubuntu, and then I try to run Windows as a virtual machine, will I be licensed and everything for it? Okay, or is that? I mean, that's the problem that I've had on other machines. For example, I've got a machine where I don't have Windows ever have been installed on it, and if I run a virtual machine on Windows, it's non-registered, I mean, I keep getting all the messages about you're not registered. It's not a proper version.
Windows has to be paid for, so you'll have to have a license for it.
Okay, but I have a license on the computer that I'm using right now. If I run Ubuntu and try to run the virtual machine, will I be licensed?
Nope, because it's licensed to that machine.
So that's why I don't want to do that way, because I don't want to pay another $100 or whatever dollars it is to get another license.
True.
Well, Murray, as an insider, you'll know that long before we do. Edward Kenny from Huntsville has a question.
Thank you.
John, would you unmute him?
No, he has to unmute himself.
Yes, you were trying, Bill, you were trying to get the File Explorer under the Start menu. It is under the File Explorer. It's under Windows System / then look at a Windows System, then you'll see File Explorer.
Thank you, because I was going to say to that's one of the things I don't like about Microsoft is making things too hard to find when File Explorer should be under F, but yes, I was going to tell you that, Bill.
Where was it? Okay, let me try that again.
Windows System.
Oh, Windows System. All right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't know why to look under Windows System for File Explorer.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
Well, another thing, I knew things were going to get hard under Windows. You used to be able to go into the bottom left there and ask a question and tell you how to do something. But then it started saying, search for this. That's how you do it. You search for something, and that's how you do it. It doesn't tell you exactly how to do it. It just says search for it, and you'll find out how to do it.
Yeah, see, I thought at one time File Explorer was under Windows Accessories.
It might have been.
Well, you can also create a folder, and it will show just above the power and all those little icons when you click on Start to shut everything down.
And if people were here last month when Bill did his session on settings, we went to that place to see that.
Yeah, we did.
I have a question about something
that I would ever look for File Explorer in APCG, whatever, because that takes much too time consuming and too many clicks. And I'm a one-click kid.
Mm-hmm. The Windows key and the E key is the easiest way to get the Explorer.
Exactly. What was the other question?
I have a question. Can I ask a question about network?
Yes.
Okay, under File Explorer, you should be able to explore there and see the network, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm having a terrible time on computer seeing any computers on their network.
Okay, Bill, here's where you got to tell the part.
All right. Do you have, hold on a second. Do you have network and sharing center turned on?
Yes. And the only way I can get it back is I have to reset the network, but every day. And I don't know why I have to do that.
Oh, now that I don't know.
I'm using the username and password authentication on all three computers. They all have the same account, so that shouldn't be a problem. But sometimes just nothing shows up, and I have to reset to get it back.
Yeah.
Another Microsoft problem.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, stop it.
I'm sorry.
This is on my good computer. My old 10-year-old computer, it sees everything all the time, which I don't understand why it works and this new computer doesn't work. So
well, let's see here. I don't think there's any other settings that you need to use.
you know, once you reset it, you have to enable network discovery and all that, and I do that. Then it start.
You go
Also,
down-
sometimes I have to restart the computer several times before it starts working. I don't know why.
Before it shows. Okay, so there it is. And I have that, I have network and sharing center turned on. So let's see if there's something in here that's different.
Do you only have one computer that you're trying to do this with?
Right now, I can see all three of my computers that are turned on. So.
Okay, so it's just the one that's acting up. So
Yeah.
it's not your router that's acting up.
Yeah. And I share files back and forth all the time. So, but when it's not working, it's kind of annoying because I can't get to the other computer to access it.
So,
Yep.
so you've gone here, right? Change advanced sharing settings.
Yeah.
And then you've turn on network discovery.
Yes, that's on. Yeah, I have on password protected sharing. That's what I have turned on. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To me, it sounds like a hiccup in the Wi-Fi signal that the computer then
Yeah.
has to be reset to get it instead of being able to recover
And
itself.
well, someplace else, somebody says, "Can you ping the other computer?" I say, "Yes, I can ping them all day long," but that doesn't help my situation.
Check all your connections.
Don't think about that. Perhaps somebody can send me an answer if you have one.
Yeah.
Oh,
The other thing, of course, is going to the troubleshooter problem, you know, looking and running that and see if that will.
Well, I tried that. They said I couldn't find anything.
Oh, well, okay. Typical.
Edward,
That's what it always says for me too.
Me too.
Another way to share resources like a driver or whatever, you can create a drive letter. You know, which you can assign any folder or drive to a drive letter, which shows up with a file explorer. Right?
Yeah.
Edward, check all of your connections. It sounds like you've got a slightly loose connection that's doing it intermittently.
Well,
don't know.
There's a website, I think it's called Tech Support Guy or something like that. And see, a lot of people refer people to go there, and I went there, and I had everybody stumped there, so nobody could figure out. In fact, I wasn't the only one. Other people had the same problem.
And luckily for Bill, it's not a file explorer problem; it's a network problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for everybody. If you would stop sharing your screen, please. If there is anybody who would be interested in a one-time only Linux workshop, I have one person that will be a co-facilitator, and I'd like one or two more co-facilitators for those people in APCUG groups that live the Linux world. If you're interested, please put it in my chat. I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Bill,
Yes.
when everything's over and they're closing it out, stay on for a few minutes. I got something I want to show you.
All right.
Thank you.
He can't unless I change.
Oh,
No.
I'm not the,
Nope.
I'll have to call you on the phone.
Yeah,
I-
he'll do a personal Zoom meeting with you, Regina.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I put a couple of questions in here for people and I didn't hear back, which is the story of my life when dealing with APCUG people. Nope. Oh, how sad.
What happened?
Oh, I was bad mouthing him and here's the answer. Outstanding. I appreciate that.
All right.
Too cool. Oh, and somebody, I have a Linux volunteer. Outstanding. Since Murray seems to use Linux, I'm surprised he hasn't sent me a chat that he might be interested.
Can I
All
ask?
right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When can we expect to be able to download this 2004?
Well,
Yesterday.
I'd wait as long as you possibly can.
It's already available. What I would do is go to your Windows Update and Security.
We did, but it's not available on our computer.
Does it say that yet? Well,
it says,
yeah, go ahead and say what it says.
oh, well, I don't have access to it right now because I'm looking at you, but
Yeah.
it just told me that it's not ready for our computer, so we're not ready to get it.
Okay.
There is
Well,
there's no rhyme or reason as to what it's doing, because I have a friend who has a computer that cannot run Windows 10, but he's running Windows 10, and his newer computer has not yet updated. So I have on my one, I have a external hard drive that's a Windows, and every 3 days I get a message that pops up and said that Windows 2004 is just about ready, and then it disappears for a couple of days. This machine I'm on right now, it's had Windows 10 for a number of weeks.
And I just leave it there.
Aaron, what you can do.
So if we have options, you're suggesting take our time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because if you're not getting it now, there could be a hardware issue that if you force the download, you would be in more trouble. So your version is probably good for another year, if it's at least, if it's 1909. So just let it go, leave it.
What brand of computer is it?
I have a Surface Pro 4. It's a 4.
And that's a Microsoft computer.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Huh.
But
so
yeah.
I sort of thought I had it actually until I really went in and looked yesterday. I mean, I thought I don't notice any difference, and then I realized I didn't have it. So
my advice and a few others would be, as a first grade teacher, leave it alone and it'll come wagging its tail behind it. Just like
Okay, that's good advice then. Thanks. I'm glad I asked.
Sometimes get it 3 months after it's been released. I always figure because they do it in alphabetical order and I'm a T.
I figured I'm last because they know that I'm not the greatest Windows fan.
Yeah, I let John answer because my answer would be different.
Yep.
But John will answer.
Yeah.
What would your answer be?
Force it.
I would say force it.
Force it. Oh, okay. So
I've been running it for 3 months. It's worked just fine.
Yeah, but I am with John, is that for some reason, and this is the only version of that they brought out where they've had those caveats like that, that they're systematically releasing it for certain computers, and I don't remember them doing that before, but I didn't wait.
If your update says that you're not ready yet, unless you know what you're doing, leave it alone. Eventually, it'll fix all the problems, and then you'll get your update.
But now,
by then, the next one might be out. But
yeah, but Karen, I would say this: if 6 months from now it's still saying that, then that's not a valid. I wouldn't think that would be a valid response. I'd go and just force it.
Well, you got to be careful because we had somebody who had a computer that one chip on this particular motherboard, one chip was not compatible with 10, so it could never ever be forced to update or upgrade. So
I could only go through a few updates with my beloved Toshiba, and it had the chip where they said, sorry. And so I kept using it until 1909. And when it got to 1909, they said, we're not going to play with you anymore.
Yep.
And
yeah, but the thing that's so surprising about that's a Microsoft box. I wouldn't think that'd be an issue.
Yeah, I was surprised that a Surface wouldn't be already updated.
Yeah,
but
so
I don't know if I can look at it now or not and see exactly what it says.
How old is your Surface?
Well, it's a 4, so I don't remember what year I got it. Let's see, check for updates.
Anymore. I want you to buy a new one.
Mm-hmm.
It says check for updates. So wait till I see check for updates, and then it says the Windows 2020. No, that's not it. No, it says I'm up to date. Is what it says today. So yeah, here it is. 2004 feature. The Windows 10 May 2020 update is on its way.
On its way, yep.
Once it's ready for your device, you'll see the update available on this page.
And I've had that message almost every 3 days, and then it goes away, and it comes back, and it's on its way. The check's in the mail.
Okay, but just don't worry about it. I'm happy with what I've got, so just okay.
But like I said, if it's still saying that 6 months from now, that would be suspicious.
Okay, then check on it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And you should be looking for the next one.
Yeah, that's right, because it'll be
6 months from now, the next one's ready.
6 months from now, the new one would be out.
Ironically, I've got it, but anytime I want to, I can download it, and I've had that for weeks. And I ignore it.
Why?
Can I make a comment? Can I make a comment?
Yep, go ahead.
I had 3 main computers I use that are running right now. All 3 of them had an update notification says 2004 is ready. So I updated all 3 to 2004, and they all had problems. Programs locking up, crashing, get it back, I had to restart the computers. So I rolled every one of them back to 1909. And the caveat is you got 10 days to do that. Otherwise, you can't go back.
Right.
That's a true statement.
Yep.
Carol, I thought, were you trying to get a word in edgewise? Because I saw your screen come up like you were starting to talk.
Yeah, I had to switch. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Ironically, I heard some tech people saying that there were major issues with some of the Surface computers. So it was acknowledged that even though it's a Microsoft product, there were some issues. And a second thing, I don't remember who it was. Somebody was having trouble with a flash drive or a external drive that wouldn't show up on one of 4 machines or something.
That was me. Yep. That's also acknowledged now, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you went into Device Manager, did that allow you to add a drive letter? Because I had that happen one time and it wasn't showing up, but it was showing up in Device Manager. And when I went in and added a drive letter through Device Manager, then it worked.
I will take a look and see if that's a possibility.
Yeah, that's usually, I'll say that's usually the way it is a lot of times when you put a new hard drive in. It's there, but you can't use it until it's got a letter.
You gotta go to the disk manager, assign it a letter, and not delete any partitions.
Yeah.
Pam, you have a question?
Carol, the nice chat lady forwarded your answer to Bob.
Okay, thanks.
Disk manager.
Yep, that's what he got.
Pam, you have a question?
Okay, I'm going to do a last call because we're at the 2:37 in the East Coast, and some of you in the West, you probably want to go and have some lunch now. So if there's anybody that has any questions, they can always put it in the chat. We'll leave it open just for a few more minutes. And then following this, give Judy a few days to get the video. She will work on the chat, send questions to Bill. Bill will send them to her. And then for those people that gave us first and last names, she will send out the presentation and then follow up with the video. Harmon, you got a question?
No, but the disk manager, that's where you go to assign a letter to a USB drive.
Right, Bob's got that, thanks.
Okay.
So is there anybody else that has a question to finish up before we meet again and next time?
Yes.
Yes, Bob.
Disk manager took care of it. I now have Drive D back on my system.
Now,
Yay!
Bob.
Worth the price of admission.
Okay, but I make a suggestion, Bob, though. I would use a low letter way down towards the end, because we've had somebody, our treasurer for our group had a problem because she was using a thumb drive to back up Quicken. And one day she tried to back up and it wouldn't. And it was because she put in a thumb drive ahead of the Quicken backup thumb drive. And so Windows gave the other thumb drive Quicken's letter and then it wouldn't back up. So I would, for something like a backup that you use so much, I would
set it for Z.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, I have a question for everybody. APCUG member groups, many of them are sharing their meetings with members from other groups. Is there anybody here that does not know what I'm talking about because your officers have not forwarded it to the members? So nobody has raised their hand as in, well, those people doesn't help. Okay, then I'm assuming everybody here knows about that and has found other groups that they are interested in attending. It's a lot of fun. It opens up your horizon and things that possibly people at your group aren't interested in. Some other group might be giving the presentation and you can attend. There's a list up on apcug2.org. And it's just a lot of fun to, like Bill and I do, we just flip from group to group to group. And it's wonderful when you learn new things from new people. And especially for me, because I've dealt with a ton and a half of people for the last 20 plus years. And it's nice to see them in person.
Yeah, and remember that people are on different time zones than you. So you might show up early for a program or you might show up late. So
all included in the handout. All you need to do is get in touch with the contact in the handout and say, hi, this is me. Would you put me on your email list?
Cool.
Well, thank you everyone for your attendance and your patience. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Bill.
We had some rough moments, but we got through it.
Hey, that's technology.
That's how you learn.
That's right.
And that's how you remember. If it's easy, you're going to forget.
Right.
If it's hard, it's going to stick.
Very true.
All right.
Everybody's welcome to our Thursday meeting tomorrow.
Good point.
Do what?
Everybody's welcome to attend our Thursday meeting tomorrow.
All that information is in the list, Regina.
That's not
That
me.
was Regina, that was me.
Dorothy,
That
I'll
sounded
be
like
on the
you.
road tomorrow, so
You're going to give a live presentation or you're going on vacation?
Do what?
She's asking Bob if he's going on vacation or live show.
no, unfortunately not a live show. A graduation.
Oh, outstanding.
All right. If
Be
nobody else
safe
has,
as you go to that graduation.
yeah. If
Great.
nobody else has any
Thank you.
questions for the chat box, I'm going to close the
Carmen.
chat.
There's
Has
a
a
hand
question.
down here.
Kurt
Carmen?
has
Is that a
an
bye-bye?
answer for something. If
She
he is
hasn't
still here.
responded.
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay, Kurt, go for it. Your
Regarding
turn.
regarding drive letters, I tend to take and assign things high drive letters, but not anything typically X through Z, because in many corporate environments, those drive letters are used for network assignments, and you don't want to have a machine that has incompatibilities in that.
Mine stayed at D because I already have the backup set up to do its backup on drive D.
Yeah,
So
the problem with that is if you add another hard drive to your system, okay, the hardware assignment is going to take that new physical hard drive and assign it to drive D. Because that's the way the hardware works. Things that are hardware attached start getting drive letters from C going up. For the same reason, I also take, and I still have a requirement to have optical drives, i.e. DVR burners or DVD burners, okay? When I configure a new machine, they get manually assigned high drive letters very early in the machine's life so that they never get taken over by another device.
Good. Bob, here I'll give you my advice. What's even best is that I assign my backup drives to B for backup, because nobody ever uses the B drive anymore. Nobody ever uses the A drive anymore. So use the B.
What they look like?
Yeah. So you can assign B and pretty well know that Windows is not going to ever use B.
in my case, it won't be using D either because it's a 1 terabyte SSD drive that's part of the computer. It's not getting anything else. So.
All right, so it's 2:45 coming up. Everybody needs to go and do what they need to do. Have a great time. Be safe. We'll see you in 1 month, and we'll talk about what I call CHEDGE, which is Chromium Edge, and Bill will have a lot of good information for using it next month. Good night to everybody. Goodbye to everybody. Have good lunch.
Thank you.
Mom.
Thanks, Bill.
Bye-bye.
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 Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good meeting tomorrow.
No, I appreciate that.
They're just heading out. Okay. Anything else? Judy's gone. So good night, everybody. I'm going to end the meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Stay safe.
Sure.